that unlike my opponent, who got handed $400 million on a silver tray and filed for bankruptcy 6 times, most people don't have that access.
We're going to go to Colleen at the AP.
Hi. Madam Vice President, do you think that Republican voters, and specific women voters, will be more likely to vote for you because of the fall of Roe?
We have time for one more. Andrea at Reuters.
Yeah. All right, guys, so we got to talk about the latest set of town halls featuring Kamala Harris and Liz Cheney. Now, for whatever reason, Kamala Harris thinks that it is a good idea to campaign with Liz Cheney. I don't think it's going to help her win any votes, and I'm going to tell you guys why. I've already explained this before, but I think this video and how this town hall went, or this set of town halls went, is a good example of what I'm talking about, and proving my argument for why this is not going to help Kamala Harris. But there has been speculation about whether or not these town halls that Kamala Harris is holding are scripted, okay? Because Kamala Harris received some backlash during the Univision town hall, in which it seemed as if she was using a teleprompter. Now, of course, the mainstream liberal media came out and quickly fact-checked the people who were concerned about Kamala Harris using a teleprompter doing what is supposed to be an unscripted town hall by saying that, no, this is just a right-wing conspiracy. Kamala Harris was not using a teleprompter. It was totally unscripted, and don't pay attention to what appears to be Kamala Harris using a teleprompter doing this town hall, okay? This is what the mainstream liberal media said, but lo and behold, okay, doing this set of town halls that Kamala Harris had with Liz Cheney, one of the moderators, one of the hosts, Miss Maria Shriver, actually ended up exposing the fact that it appears as if the town hall wasn't actually a town hall, that it was in fact a scripted campaign event, because one of the audience members asked the moderator, could they ask questions, right? Would the town hall be open to questions from the audience, which is what a town hall is supposed to be, right? You're supposed to have audience members ask questions. And the moderator essentially admitted that, no, you can't ask questions. We already have predetermined, pre-selected questions for Kamala Harris and Liz Cheney. Take a look.
I'm here as a journalist, but I'm really here as a concerned citizen. And I'm really happy to be here. And so I know all of you are looking forward to hearing from both of these extraordinary women. They're both incredible. And so I want to begin by getting going. We have some questions from the audience that we will get to. I have a few questions. As I said, I went around to meet several of you, and I heard some questions that some of you had. But universally, many of you said the reason I'm here is to see bipartisanship. I want to see what it looks like so I can go home with information. So you're going to get that, okay? So let's get going. So sit back, be comfortable. You're not, unfortunately. We have some predetermined questions, and hopefully I'll be able to ask some of the questions that might be in your head. I hope so. But so let's first, I'm going to introduce the Congresswoman from Wyoming, Liz Cheney.
Yeah, so you seen that, you heard that. One of the audience members asked, hey, are we going to be able to ask some of the questions? And this journalist, aka propagandist, says, no, you're not, right? So basically, it's not a real town hall, okay? This is no different than a scripted campaign event in which Kamala Harris already knows the questions that are going to be asked. They already know the answer to the questions that they're going to give. And this is entirely just an act, right? This is entirely staged. Now, there may be some legitimate audience members who are there, but a lot of the people are probably paid actors, right? Who are pretending to be concerned citizens who were randomly selected to ask questions of Kamala Harris and Liz Cheney in this attempt to try to make it seem like Kamala Harris is some moderate that can come together across the aisle with warmongers like Liz Cheney, okay? Now, why I find this to be fascinating is because Kamala Harris has a history of staging these types of events. Again, there's a lot of speculation about Kamala Harris staging visits to restaurants. Like, for example, I covered a story out of Pennsylvania, where Kamala Harris kicked out a bunch of Trump supporters from a restaurant to bring in paid supporters, so that when she walked into the restaurant, she wouldn't get any boos, she would not get any heckles, everybody would love her and be so interested in meeting her. She's staging this stuff as if it's a real campaign event. Now, again, this is funny to me because the mainstream liberal media is currently melting down over Trump's staged troll of Kamala Harris, in which he went to work at McDonald's for probably an hour or so. Okay, he went to work at McDonald's and he was, cooking the fries or whatnot in an obvious attempt to expose Kamala Harris and her lies about working at McDonald's. Okay, now again, clearly that is a troll, right? It was not really a serious thing, but you have the mainstream liberal media out here doing what the mainstream liberal media does, and they're trying to fact check people claiming that Trump worked at McDonald's, which, this is the type of silly nonsense that it's easily predictable due to the Trump derangement of the mainstream liberal media. Okay, they have to go out of their way to make sure that people know that Trump didn't actually work at McDonald's and that the event was staged, although the event was obviously staged, right? It was a troll, okay? Like, that was the whole point. So they're boohoo whining and crying about Trump's staged event, but they have nothing to say about Kamala and her staged event, right? Staged events that she is marketing as not staged, right? Trump's event was clearly staged, but Kamala's events are not supposed to be staged. They're supposed to be 100% real and organic, but they're not. And for whatever reason, the mainstream liberal media is silent on this. They don't have anything to say about this. But anyways, the point of this video is not just to highlight the fact that this town hall likely was staged, okay, in regards to the questions and answers, but also to expose how Liz Cheney has essentially become a Democrat. I mean, we all know that she's become a Democrat, but these conservatives that are out here supporting Democrats, openly supporting the most progressive Democrat Party nominee in American history, while claiming to be conservative, trying to make the case that it's okay for a conservative to support Kamala Harris. These people aren't actually conservative. They're liberals, okay? Because ultimately, at the end of the day, they never had any real conservative principles in the first place. What they actually really care about is the establishment agenda. That's what they care about protecting the most. And this town hall with Liz Cheney highlights exactly what I'm talking about, because apparently Liz Cheney has abandoned her conservative principles on abortion, okay, and being pro-life in order to support Kamala Harris, right? To justify supporting Kamala Harris, because essentially she now seems to be against the Supreme Court overturning Roe v. Wade, which is something that she supported not too long ago. Take a look.
And that's to make sure that every American understands what today's Democrat Party stands for with respect to babies and with respect to the murder of babies. We have seen now in states across the country the introduction of legislation that would enable the killing of babies. This is not about abortion. This is about killing babies after they are born. And it is the face of pure evil. And you've seen the leadership of the Democrat Party here on the Hill remain silent while elected leaders, including the governor of Virginia, described in very cold, clinical terms how he would, in fact, facilitate the murder of a baby that had already been born. And I want to say personally, as a mother, I'm the mother of 5 kids. I've delivered 5 babies. And the idea that we have to say today to mothers all across this country that we've got to describe what the Democrats are doing is really horrific. And I want to ask mothers across this country to join with us to make sure that we don't see our maternity wards turned into killing fields, which is what the Democrats would do if we don't stop this. So we are absolutely dedicated to stopping this, dedicated to protecting the most vulnerable among us, which are the unborn, and the notion that we're having a debate about whether or not you should be able to kill babies is, as I said, absolutely horrific and evil, and we will stand up against that.
You know, I'm pro-life, and I have been very troubled, deeply troubled by what I have watched happen in so many states since Dobbs. And I have been troubled by the extent to which you have women who, as the Vice President said, in some cases have died, who can't get medical treatment that they need because providers are worried about criminal liability. Even if you are pro-life, as I am, I do not believe, for example, that the state of Texas ought to have the right, as they're currently suing to do, to get access to women's medical records. I mean, there are some very fundamental and fundamentally dangerous things that have happened. And so I think that it's crucially important for us to find ways to have the federal government play a role and protect women from some of the worst harms that we're seeing. But again, I just think that if you look at the difference in the way that Donald Trump is handling this issue, Donald Trump at one point called for criminal penalties for women. Now, he's been now trying to sort of be all over the place on this issue, although he expresses great pride for what's happened. And I think the bottom line on this, as on so many other issues, is you just can't count on him. You cannot trust him. We've seen the man that he is. We've seen the cruelty, and America deserves much better.
Thank you. Wow. So there's just so many things I have to say about this, because I've made the argument before in the past that Liz Cheney is not somebody who is acting on principle, right? This is not some principle stance. All this is that, well, I hate Trump. Right. And I'm going to tell you guys why she hates Trump. OK, because, again, it has nothing to do with Trump not being a conservative. It has everything to do with Trump not being on board with the establishment agenda that Liz Cheney cares about the most, which I'm going to talk about here in a second. But I really want to focus on this issue of abortion. OK, because that first clip that I showed you guys was Liz Cheney talking about how dangerous it is that Democrats are attempting to have the ability to terminate life after birth. OK. This is what she was talking about after Roe v. Wade was overturned. Okay? This is what she was talking about. Now, fast forward 2 years later, all of a sudden, she's not concerned about that anymore. Kamala Harris picked Tim Walz as her running mate, who in the state of Minnesota, this guy went out of his way to make sure that medical providers do not have to keep a baby alive after a botched abortion, right? All they have to do is to care for the baby, right? They don't have to keep it alive. This is the same party. These are the same individuals that cannot give you a solid answer on whether or not they believe in any limits for abortion whatsoever. But Liz Cheney claims that she is supporting Kamala Harris and that she's still a principled conservative, despite the fact that one of the main core issues of conservatism being abortion and being pro-life, Liz Cheney is supporting a party that does not believe in any abortion limits whatsoever. They are extremists on this issue. When just 2 years ago, she was calling out that same extremism that she now apparently supports because she hates Trump. But again, you're trying to tell me that, oh, well, Liz Cheney, what she's doing is because she's a principled conservative. Apparently, her hate of Trump justifies her being okay with the Democrat Party and their stance of allowing babies that are born alive to be killed, right? To die, right? That's what she's at this point. And she's out here spewing lies, peddling the debunked talking points from Democrats that, oh, women are dying because of this. Women are not dying because of abortion bans in conservative states. Oh, well, I don't like the fact that Texas is suing Biden to get access to women's medical records. But yet, she doesn't go into the details in regards to why they're suing the Biden administration. It's because the Biden administration preemptively tried to overstep their role as the federal government in trying to control the states and their enforcement of their abortion laws. Okay, Biden essentially tried to block conservative states from getting access to women's medical records who go across state lines to get abortion. Now, in Texas, yes, there is an abortion ban. However, Texas, they are not trying to get access to women's medical records, okay? There's no evidence whatsoever of any GOP official or any state official trying to get access to a woman's medical records who went across state lines to get an abortion. That's not a thing, because that's not a crime in Texas, right? It's not a crime for a woman to go across state lines to get an abortion, right? It's not a thing, okay? So they're not trying to do that. The reason why Texas is suing Biden for that rule is because this is a give them an inch, they'll take a mile type of thing, right? So what happens is that if you let the federal government slide in regards to overreaching when it comes to this rule that, again, is being implemented for no reason because Texas is not trying to do that, okay? This is not what they're trying to do at all, okay? There's no evidence of this happening. But when you allow them to get away with it and you don't sue, what happens is in the future, they will try to do more, right? They will try to continuously overreach to the point where they are actually really affecting how states can enforce their laws, right? So Texas is trying to stop it before they overreach too much, right? That's what's happening here. But again, Liz Cheney ignores that. She ignores the details and basically throws her Republican colleagues under the bus for essentially enforcing laws that she agreed with when Roe v. Wade was overturned, right? Which is to protect life. She's completely abandoned that position, completely, while also at the same time campaigning in Texas for a Democrat who is super woke when it comes to the trans agenda, when it comes to race, when it comes to every social issue you can think of. This dude is super far left, and Liz Cheney is actively supporting this individual as a conservative because she doesn't like Ted Cruz and his support of Trump. And this is why I get so frustrated with these individuals running around calling themselves Republicans and conservatives, but yet they don't have a conservative bone in their body. They're not advocating for any Republican or conservative positions. You cannot like Trump, okay, and still advocate for conservative / Republican policies. You can do that. Like, that's actually possible. But you couldn't tell listening to people like Alyssa Fair Griffin or Anna Navarro. Anna Navarro's out here palling around with drag queens, right? This is what she's doing while calling herself a Republican and a conservative. She's pro-LGBTQ, pro-kids getting access to porn, right, in school. This is what she's pro. This is what she advocates for. Alyssa Fair Griffin, she sits on The View as a speed bump to the cackling hens, advocating for the most far-left extreme positions. And she never pushes back. She never pushes back and advocates for any conservative positions at all on The View. At all. But yet she calls herself a Republican / conservative. Her sole job is not to push any Republican or conservative views. No. It's just to be anti-Trump. And a lot of this is because they want to remain a part of the club. Being a part of the establishment, getting invites to the parties is much more important to these individuals than their alleged conservative viewpoints. And this is why I try to tell you guys that this idea that Liz Cheney or Alyssa Fair Griffin or Anna Navarro is going to help Kamala Harris win over Republican voters, conservative voters, is nonsense, because those people weren't conservative. Those people aren't Republicans. They've already become Democrats. They became Democrats a long time ago. So again, it's laughable to think that somebody like Liz Cheney, who is one of the most unpopular politicians in the country, period, is going to help Kamala Harris. It's silly. But Kamala Harris is too dumb to realize that Liz Cheney is actually hurting her more than Liz Cheney is helping her. Because the real reason that Liz Cheney is supporting Kamala Harris, because we know it's not because of any type of real conservative principles. No. The real reason that Liz Cheney is supporting Kamala Harris is because her and Kamala Harris are aligned on the issue that Liz Cheney really cares about the most, which is warmongering. Take a look.
Yeah, I think that if you look at where the Republican Party is today, there's been a really dangerous embrace of isolationism, a dangerous embrace of
bringing the allies together is because they are fully aware of, and remember, to the Congresswoman's point, World War II, remember, this concept of isolation. We were once there as a nation, and then Pearl Harbor happened. Let's remember recent history. Europe remembers it well. When we got attacked, Pearl Harbor, we jumped in. And it is because America jumped in that we were ultimately able to win that war. And it should be a constant reminder to us. We have to remember history. That isolationism which is exactly what Donald Trump is pushing, pull out of NATO, abandon our friends. Isolationism is not insulation. It is not insulation. It will not insulate us from harm in terms of our national security. So I say that to emphasize a point that the Congresswoman made, and the other point I'd make is also check out where he's been on how he thinks about America's military and service members. One of the great, great American heroes of prisoner of war, John McCain, remember?
Yeah, so that's all she cares about, folks. That's it. That's all she cares about. Clearly, she doesn't care about any other conservative position outside of warmongering, okay? Which, in my opinion, is not a conservative position by definition. It's actually a pro-establishment position. That's what she cares about. That is what she cares about more than anything. This is why she's supporting Kamala Harris. Because Kamala Harris is a warmonger, okay? Kamala Harris is pretending as if Trump is an isolationist, which is not true. Saying that, hey, we don't want to get involved in every foreign war that has nothing to do with us. That's not isolationism. And trying to compare, I guess, what's happening today with what happened during World War II is silly. Russia didn't attack us. Russia attacked Ukraine. Ukraine is not the United States of America. Ukraine is not our ally. So why should we get involved? And this argument that being interventionist in every conflict protects America, it protects us from being attacked is nonsense. Because if that was the case, then 9/11 would not have happened, right? We were heavily involved in the Middle East, and some people could argue because of our heavy involvement in the Middle East, particularly in Afghanistan, Pakistan, and some of these other places, that could have led to why 9/11 happened in the first place. In regards to America's history of radicalizing Islamic extremists to fight Russia, right? So don't say and try to make the argument that, oh, well, interventionism prevents the United States from being attacked, because that's certainly not true. But again, what you have here is a clear demonstration of what Liz Cheney really cares about. But these people will try to tell you that they have good character. I don't think it's good character when you say, screw the lives of the unborn. I want to get my donors rich. I want the military industrial complex and America's multinational corporations to get rich. So therefore, I'm going to advocate to be involved in every war, right? I want to be able to bomb kids overseas in the Middle East so that big corporations can get rich, so that they can benefit, because they're my donors. These are the people that I really answer to. That doesn't make you a good person. It actually makes you an evil person. And what makes you even more evil is pretending as if you are a good person, that you're doing this for some type of greater good when you're not. You're doing it for yourself. There's no morality here. It's selfishness. That's what's happening. So again, this is why people like Liz Cheney make me sick, because they're not standing on any type of real conservative principles. And this is something I said from the first day that Liz Cheney decided to turn against Trump. I said she's not standing on any conservative principles. Adam Kinzinger is not standing on any type of conservative principles. Joe Scarborough is not standing on conservative principles. Alyssa Fair Griffin is not standing on conservative principles. Anna Navarro is not standing on conservative principles. Michael Steele is not standing on conservative principles. None of these people are standing on conservative principles. They're standing on Trump derangement and the pro-establishment agenda. That's what they're standing on. And there's nothing moral about it. They're not better than Donald Trump because of it. They are evil and they're wicked. And these type of people should be ashamed of themselves for pretending as if they're standing on some type of moral high ground when they're doing it for themselves. And this is why they will abandon positions that they claim to hold so deeply in order to go against Trump. Because again, it never was about those positions. It was always about protecting the establishment and the agenda, maintaining their status and their wealth. So let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.